What's up, everybody? Welcome to Chillporeal, and with us we have a special guest. We have RNG Gaming right here. What's up, man? Thanks for being here.
Hello, thank you for having me on. Hope everyone's having a great Tuesday.
Yeah, thanks once again. I really appreciate you being here. I mean, I met you, or I found out about your channel, your podcast through our mutual friend, Angry Canadian AC.
Yes.
And your stream. I usually don't like to listen to a whole lot of live streams, especially for entire duration. But I listened to the entire 3 hours when I was doing my work. A couple weeks ago. So yeah, I was listening to it. And it was very entertaining, and I wanted to get a hold of you right away. And it was like it was like going through a really difficult level of Castlevania in order to do so. Like I was just like, how do I do this? Why can't I get a hold of? Why can't I get a hold of him?
Yeah, the smoke signals weren't working that day. It's been a lot of rain over here by us.
Yeah, that's how it is. Yeah, it was like that this morning. I mean, some of the streets were almost flooded. So
Oh yeah, I'm driving on my way to work. I work in Elgin, and I'm just like, what is going on? Why does it look like it's about to tornado over here?
Elgin, yeah, you're from Chicago. You're also from Chicago, aren't you?
I'm from the Chicagoland area, but as you know, everyone from Illinois just says Chicago just to save everyone the time.
Yeah, I know. And what's funny is when I say I'm from Chicago, I am from Chicago. I literally live in Chicago. Like I live in the northwest part of Chicago. So I live right by the highways. I live right by the O'Hare Turnpike. So like I can easily hop on the highway and get to any part of the city I want to. So getting to work, and I usually most of my jobs have been in the suburbs. Getting to work hasn't really been an issue, except working on the south side. Getting back home from the south side during rush hour, that's a nightmare.
Oh, just going to anywhere in Chicago during rush hour is a nightmare. I remember a mutual friend of mine, JM, came up here from Florida. He's a giant Rangers fan, so we went to the United Center, obviously, to watch the Rangers and the Hawks game. It took us 2 hours to go 12 miles.
12 miles. Yep, that's
Yeah,
sounds about right. I'm assuming you guys took the 90.
Yeah, of course we took 90.
Yep, backs up all the time. I know.
Yeah. And we left 2 hours early, so I'm like, oh, we might be able to do this, and I'm like, nope.
Nope. Yep, I know exactly how it is. Gotta suffer through the stop and go traffic. Mostly stop. But yeah. But like what'd you think of the intro? Like I was like, what movie should I use clips from? I was like, okay, Blues Brothers.
Oh, gotta use Blues Brothers when you're talking about Chicago. That movie encapsulates not only like the spirit of like Chicago, how people really want it to be. One of the best comedy movies. Shout out on to oh crap, I'm forgetting his name. Josh's top 5 over there. We were talking about like our top 5 comedy movies. That made my list. I think it was my number 3, Blues Brothers. Perfect movie.
No effing way. No fucking way.
Yes, I laughed at.
You gotta see the Penguin, Carl, or I'm gonna call it Adam. You gotta see the Penguin, Adam. You gotta see the Penguin.
I just love the one part. It's like I fucking hate Illinois Nazis, and I laughed when you sold that part too, with where they show up at Wrigley Field. The Nazis get out of their car. That's
because that was on his license. That was on Dan Aykroyd or Elwood's license right there.
Yeah,
something West Addison Street, Chicago, Illinois. Yeah, I had no idea the Illinois Nazis was based off of like there was a rally in Skokie. And Skokie is like where where most of the people of a particular Jewish faith live in Chicagoland. So
yes, the famous Skokie, Illinois Nazi case that the ADL took up too.
Oh yeah, that's right. So so like the Melson Funeral Home clip, I included that one because I know exactly where that place is. It's really close to where I'm living. So I'm sorry. It's really close to where I'm living. So I was just like, you know what, I have to include. I even when I first watched the movie when I was a teenager or kid, I was like, is this where I think it was? And my parents were like, yep, that's exactly where it is. So yeah, so I got into as when I was younger. To give you a little bit of my own backstory right now. I was into cartoons. Cartoons was the very first thing I was ever into as a kid. I grew up I was born in '84, so I'm a little bit older than you.
Yes.
I was so I grew up with VCR, VHS tapes, and all that. So I owned even as a 2 or 3 year old. I don't remember what age I was when, but the first thing I ever learned to work was the VCR, and I had every morning I had to watch either my Porky Pig tape, my Mickey Mouse tape, or my Donald Duck tape, which each of them had like 3 or 4 shorts, 4 animated shorts each, and everything.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So I was watching those religiously for a while, and then I started preschool, and then before I knew it, I noticed that there was this thing called Nintendo on TV commercials, and I'm watching, I'm seeing it, and I'm just like, is this a cartoon? I'm like, what is this? And my dad came back home. My folks were my mom and dad were separated when I was toddler or something. And he came back home with the TV and and another VCR with this thing called a remote control. So I was always told to hand my dad the remote control as a kid.
Yeah.
It was a seven. Apparently, it was like Gen Xers, would say, I was basically the control. I was the control handler or something for your dad and all that. So it was the same here. And so I was like, okay, but you have a control for this cartoon thing. What is this? And then I learned it was a Nintendo. I was like, what's a Nintendo? And it's like the Nintendo's a system, and you put this thing in. You put this little block in. You put this block in that looks like a thing. You put it in, and it plays a cartoon. But it's like a weird cartoon. It's like a bunch of, I don't know, pixel. Well, I didn't know what a pixel was back then, but it was like, what is this? And so I started. I'm like, this is a control. And I started moving the mouse, moving pressing the buttons, and I noticed the character was doing stuff, but I just couldn't really figure out the movements and all that. So, and I was in special ed. I was a special ed kid. So I had I had a hard time paying attention. I wasn't talking much. So my mother in particular had to yell at me to play Super Mario Bros. Because in '89, when the consoles got really big and they were really selling, and which got my parents' attention, my mom and my dad's in particular, that system came with the orange zapper and the game Super Mario Brothers, and Duck Hunt. So I had to learn how to play Super Mario Brothers if I didn't want to get yelled at or get yelled at stuff because special.
You're kind of breaking up a little bit there, buddy.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're kind of roboting, and it looks like you're freezing a little bit on your end.
Oh, okay. Like the internet's kind of low. How am I doing now?
You're doing better, but you're still a little fuzzy.
I'm still fuzzy.
Yeah, your camera looks like it's still trying to correct itself.
How's it now? How do I sound?
You sound fine, but yeah, you still. There you go. You're looking much clearer now.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. So, yeah. So that's my history with. That's so I started with cartoons. I started with then Nintendo stuff was pretty much the first thing I ever been a fan of video game wise. So NES was my time, and then Super NES, and then all that. So I'm just curious what your history is, because I know you're a little bit younger, so I'm curious where you started.
Well, my brother and my sister and me are almost equal, 10 years between our age brackets, believe it or not. So my brother is actually 53 this year, and my sister is 43 this year. So my brother, he started off with, what is it? The Atari 2600 he had, and he also had a Super Nintendo. I started playing those as like a kid, but I don't really remember too much of them. Probably Duck Hunt was the most vivid one I can remember from my childhood. But it really kind of took off kind of like a little bit with your story, except it started with a cartoon called Pokemon, obviously for my generation. And then that
You
turned
want to
into,
be the very best.
damn right.
No one ever was. Bum, bum. I love that. I love that theme song.
Yes, I like that one and the Johto one. I can sing those ones at the top of my off the top of my head because they're so ingrained into me as a child.
They're actually the English version of the opening is better than the Japanese the original Japanese version. I actually found and I listened to it, I was like, this doesn't not as good. But I watched it. My brother my brother's roughly your age. He's a little bit younger. But he would that was basically so for me. I grew up with the Mario Super Show. His version of what I grew up with it was the Blue or the Indigo League. I think that's the first couple seasons of Pokemon. So that's his stuff. So Pokemon I haven't really played beyond Gen 1.
Yeah, that's when I really started to take off was the Game Boy games for sure. It was just one of those natural things in elementary school where everyone knew the Masingo glitch, even though no one could explain how we all knew it. So, it was to get the unlimited Master Balls, if people are wondering what that means. Because
I forget, the Master Ball was like the best ball. Ball that you could carry. It would it just capture anybody without any effort?
Yeah, it's 100% capture, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
I remember that. I think those things were rare. Like you barely got. There were like one or two in the entire game or something.
Yeah, one per game.
So, Pokemon. I did enjoy Pokemon. I played that one. So my brother had the games on the Game Boy. So when I had Game Boy. I had Game Boy Advance. My brother had Game Boy Color. I never got really beyond playing a few games on the Game Boy because when I was a kid, didn't have money, and we never had batteries. Like batteries always ran out. AA. And the original Game Boy required 4 AA batteries, and it would barely last a few hours or something. So,
right.
So I mean, the only things I remember playing was Mario Land 2, Tetris, and the DuckTales, the Game Boy. It was just the Game Boy port of DuckTales. Yep. So I played the NES one first. I rented that one, and I used to play back then. I used to play almost everything was adapted into a video game. Like all the animated shows, a lot of the movies were adapted into video games. I mean, I showed a clip of Gremlins 2 in the intro. I played that. I rented that game from the video store. I don't know if you ever had the pleasure of renting games from the video store, but that's how I used to play a bulk of my games. I only owned a small amount, but everything else I played was either rented. Some games I was able to beat if I figured it out and got far enough and wanted to play it again, rent it again. A lot of the times I rented it once, I'm like, I can't figure this out, and I just never played it again. So.
Yeah, no, we had the local video stores over here too. We had obviously Blockbuster and Hollywood Video, but there was a local grocery store. I'm pretty sure you might know this one a little bit, that you would go into like your local grocery store and they would have like a video section, and sometimes they'd have video games there. Good old Island Foods in Island Lake, Illinois used to have one of those places there too when I was a kid.
I don't think I know that. I don't think I know Island Foods.
Island Foods was, I should say now. It just closed, I want to say either late last year or early this year. But it was just a local little grocery store in Island Lake, Illinois. And they used to have a little video section in the corner. You would walk in. And I just remember my mom used to grocery shop there. So like when we get done with the trip, I would be able to go look at the videos to either rent a movie. This was still VHSs too. This was before DVDs, or occasionally maybe a Nintendo 64 game or something like that too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, I forgot to say hello to the chat. So what's up, guys? We got let's see, we've got Nerdy Neo. He says Carl is great. Are you great?
No.
I don't think so.
Well, mileage will vary depending on who you ask.
And then we got Paul Hadoken, another Chicagoan.
Hail, brother.
We got Chris. First time I've seen you on the channel, Chris.
Chris is one of my friends from the Mr. Matty Plays Discord. He's a really good guy. I love him to death.
Awesome, man. Hope you'll consider subscribing. Checking out my channel. we got what's up, Dempsey? How you doing, man?
Hello.
We got Jake D here. What's up, Jake D?
What up, Jake?
And who else we got? We got JT Pixel. What's up? First time here too.
Salt of the Earth man, Mr. JT himself.
That's awesome. And I don't know. I hear this RNG gaming podcast guy is toxic.
I am very toxic. There's a reason why I have red on. It's letting you know I am toxic.
and we got Sotelo74, Carl Stinks.
Another guy from the Mr. Matty Plays Discord coming
That's
by.
Awesome.
Say hi.
Well, thank you guys for being here. Hopefully you guys will consider subscribing and check out my channel. I mean, I don't just cover video games. I cover stuff that I like, movies or whatever. The Chillporeals are basically my way of having a dialogue with people of various fandoms that like stuff, and I like to learn more about people and find out what their tastes are and maybe expand my own. That's the point of having conversations, meeting people halfway. And
yes, exactly.
Sometimes there's debates. Most of the time there isn't, but sometimes there's debates, and you gotta meet someone halfway. You can't just make generalizations and call people ists and isms and all that stuff. So
yeah.
So I hear you're pretty active online under your Carl name and all that. So have you been like on top of like all the controversies that's been going on in the gaming industry, especially with Sony? And I think the latest one was the Helldivers 2 game. I didn't even know that Helldivers existed until there was all this controversy. So apparently they were basically forcing people who have a Steam account to link their PlayStation network accounts.
Yeah, so I kind of made my thoughts really known about this. Personally, I think a lot of people who were upset about it, I stand by this and said, yeah, this is a very first world problem to have. But I also said, I make the caveat here too when I say this. If like you bought the game in a country that is no longer able to access it from the PSN network because your country does not have PSN access, then yeah, of course, like I 100% support this. This is a really bad move. This is not a consumer friendly move at all. And I was like, yeah, this is bad. I have a PlayStation account because I own everything. I play on everything. I make a very hard point to say console fanboys are not people and they should be treated as such with disrespect as much as you can online. But all that stuff that happened with the Helldiver stuff, yeah, I don't tell people how to think and feel. I would be like, for me personally, it is a first world problem, but if you truly are A, losing access, or B, feel very upset because a game suddenly changed 6 months into release of the game that they're just going to add this new term to play the game with, or you'll get banned and lose access to your game. Yeah, I totally get that. And everyone should have the right to go out there and voice their opinion and concerns about anything however they want, even if I think it looks silly. My job is not to tell you how to think and feel. If that's how you really feel, then more power to you. Let everyone know, you know?
Yeah. Makes perfect sense. It's just like, you have to, it's just a thing now with entertainment. Maybe it's because companies have gotten so big now, but they feel like they're entitled to act like asses to customers. Like this whole anti-customer mentality. I mean, within the games industry, within Hollywood. I mean, within you have these toxic community managers. You're like, who the hell is hiring these people? Like you have to treat potential customers. You can't treat them like crap. You can't just act like a jerk. So,
well, the thing is that it's a reminder to everyone. Multi-billion-dollar companies do not give a shit about you or anything else. They care about the bottom line.
And yeah, well, the bottom line depends on people, unless they have investors that just will keep giving them money for being jerks to other people.
Well, it's not even just investors. It's also the people who aren't terminally online or out there on Twitter making their voices heard. It really comes down to just how the customer base wants to react to something. So if a bunch of normies make up 85% of the customer pool, at the end of the day, the small 15% on whatever side of the argument you want to be on if they are not buying the things, but they still have a massive core of people that are still buying it, they will continue to ignore what you're saying. And what I think you see a lot now that you're happening is that those people who kind of like have like had it good in life and they're just, you know, continuing on with life, they're not paying attention. They're starting to realize that a lot of stuff that these companies are putting out is just not good, you know? And it doesn't even have to be like, you know, any buzzword you want to like put in there, for example, for it. It's just that a lot of normies are just saying like, this is stupid. This isn't interesting. This isn't fun. Like the writing's bad. Everything about this is terrible. And on top of that too, you know, the economy is bad for a lot of people too. So it's like now they have to like worry about other real things. And then their escape is now starting to also affect their, you know, this isn't my escape anymore. Now it's also destroyed. So now they're paying attention more and more to a lot of this stuff too.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. I mean, because there's always defenders out there that are willing to basically toe the line with these companies and defend these companies no matter what is going on. Like I mean, like I don't know if you noticed in my intro, but I may or may not like a show called Star Trek.
Right.
And let's just say Star Trek, like many other things that they brought back to suit a modern audience, has suffered from a rapid decline in quality. And of course, you know, a lot of people online throw the word that rhymes with smoke or bloke, you know? So like, but like, and then you have people that just like will make excuses for it. Like, it's like, oh, it's always been this, or it's always been, this is the natural step in the progression and progress, you know?
Yeah.
Being on the right side of history. I'm just like, there's a big difference between what was presented and made it mainstream. Like just earlier today, somebody say, "Oh, there's no problem with Star Trek. There's nothing," because some people are complaining that it's no good. And I just said, dude, you're disingenuous by saying that. There is a problem. There's a lot of people that don't like what's being put out there. And even if you do like it, which I'm happy I'm happy you like it. I'm not mad that you enjoy something. I enjoy some crap stuff too, but I mean, like the thing is, what made people like the brand in the first place is gone. Like, people like the characters, people like the likable characters, the writing that made you think, didn't tell you what to think, it just gave you food for thought.
Right.
The new stuff doesn't do that, and the characters are unlikable, and the way action is handled is just, it's unbelievable. It like takes you right out of it.
Well, I had this kind of conversation with one of my earlier guests on my podcast, Fratanga Plays, and we were kind of talking about this a little bit as well. And I said to him, and I stand by this. It's like, when I was growing up, I watched shows like Kim Possible, The Proud Family, Recess, Weekenders, Gargoyles, all these shows that had like, you know, what a lot of people would say is like super diverse cast. Some of them had like very like pro messaging, if you want to be like that too. Like with it, like watching like old X-Men, it's like we all got the allegories of what the old X-Men was and everything else like that. And what I always tell people is like, listen, I didn't suddenly just start becoming a racist and I just hate everyone and women and all this stuff out of nowhere. You know, it's like, no, it's you guys like took these properties and you just kind of destroyed them because you don't know how to write a good story anymore. You don't understand how to make characters like human. They don't, you know, they just don't sympathize.
There's no world experience. These people don't have empathy, and all they do is attack instead of taking ownership and trying to improve based on, you know, customer, because we pay for this shit.
Right.
We pay. I mean, this is not something we get for free and then complain about. You're not doing us any favors. Oh, if you don't like it, don't watch it. Well, you're screwing yourself. You're screwing yourself you're screwing yourself when you say that stupid shit like that.
Of course. Well, yeah. And then I'll happily oblige them. And then when I don't do it, they'll still call me names. And I'm like, well, I'm not coming back if you don't want me there. Like, it's like the Star Wars argument, you know, where it's like everyone like because I'm a big Star Wars guy. Like Star Wars has been like a huge part of my life since I was like a little kid. You know.
Star Wars? What's that?
Yes, I know.
Isn't that a movie? Isn't that just a stupid fantasy about space wizards
Yes.
and laser swords? And
Yes, you're right. Everything is
so
right.
like it's a damn fantasy. Why do you care so much? Carl, Adam, why do you care so much? It's just a stupid movie.
You're right. Because I devoted like 25 years of my life to being a fan and enjoying this and doing a lot of this stuff on my honeymoon with my wife and watching the movies with my mom and my dad and all that stuff, you know, like playing the video games. It's a big investment when you get into being a fan. And when they go like, well, if it's no big deal, you know, to you, then why do you constantly say like you're a fan of it, but it was never for you too, is always my counter argument, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, Star Wars was my gateway into science fiction, even though it's technically a space fantasy. Star Wars was my gateway into my interest in science fiction. I would not have gotten into Star Trek. I knew about Star Trek. I knew about Next Generation because I grew up with the Next Generation that was always on TV. And sometimes the movies would show up on cable. My dad would watch some of them. But like I knew about it, but I found it boring. It was just like, you know, adults talking. And that's it. There was no action or anything like that. But then again, what did I know? I was 6 or 7. They were always on after. I used to watch the Three Stooges on the Channel 50 station in Chicago.
WCIU, 26U.
No, this is Channel 50. It's WW,
No, it became
PWR.
Yeah, it became Channel 50, but it was originally Channel 26U.
No, Channel 26U was another station.
Oh, really? Or
yeah, it was another station.
I just remember
that had Channel 26 had Svengoolie.
There you go. Yeah, it had Svengoolie. Erwin. That's a Chicago thing right there for anyone who doesn't know. Right there, good old Svengoolie.
But yeah, most of the Star Trek shows were shown on Channel 50, except for Deep Space Nine. Deep Space Nine was the only Star Trek show that was actually shown, believe it or not, on Channel 9, WGN. So,
yeah.
Yeah, and that had the weird schedule because they had to work its way around Cubs games and all that. So, I Deep Space Nine I didn't get into until the DVDs came out, and I was able to watch the show from start to finish because it was more serialized than all the other Trek shows. Like any other Trek show, you could just watch a random episode and not have to watch the earlier episode because they were mostly episodic. So I'm watching that. I'm getting into that, but and I said this on other streams. I mean, the reason why I liked Star Trek was because of how likable the characters were. I was a kid. Now, I didn't really have friends as a kid. I mean, especially by the time fifth and sixth grade happened, people were cold to me. People started making fun of me, and because of family situations, and my grades were slipping because of just how I was treated and my state of mind. And so that same year I was at a video store in the mall, one of the places where you actually buy movies. You don't rent them, you actually buy them, like a Suncoast or an FYI. And I see the Wrath of Khan, and I see Star Trek II, the Wrath of Khan on VHS. I'm like, okay, this looks interesting. But then I see the next movie and it's like, oh wait, that character with the pointed ears I remember from cable, he dies. A major character dies, and that was what got me into Star Trek. So I watched those movies, and what I took away was there in this world, altruism and characters who truly do care for each other, friends that do care for each other exist, and that meant something to me, and that's why I became a Star Trek fan, especially the movie Star Trek 3, because they go back for their friend. And they take risks, and let's just say the cost in that movie is very high.
Yeah,
things are lost as a result of what's going on. So that's why I got into Star Trek, and then I started watching, and I started really loving the characters. The original show, then I watched Voyager, Deep Space Nine, and TNG. The characters all grew on me, and I really enjoyed watching the shows. And so seeing what they did now and seeing how like currently fans are treating, like how people are treating older fans who just want to like it. We want to enjoy this. We want to support you. But it seems like nowadays these big companies Hollywood feel like they can pick and choose their fans, their customers, and then they have these toxic community managers or these toxic shills that just feel that they can just call people ists and isms and just scare people away.
Yeah, that's one of the things when these companies buy out big beloved properties and they don't know how to manage them.
Yeah, so I mean, like I remember when hearing about the thing with Star Wars and all that, everyone's like, "Oh, this can be good." Disney really cares about its properties. And I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? I was actually on board." And then I saw the Force Awakens. And I was like, I'm not sure I like where this is going. They made Rey great. She knew how to use a lightsaber, and for no reason, without knowing how to train, without anything. And then you have these dumb jokes that even Lucas himself, like some of the stuff and some of the humor in the prequels was, especially Phantom Menace, was pretty dumb, especially all the stuff regarding Jar Jar. But now I rewatch it, I just laugh at it for the sake of just laughing at it.
Right.
Squeeze Me or P Yusa or what was the other one? Yusa and Big Doo Doo. You go from watching Empire Strikes Back, I Am Your Father, Luke, to Yusa and Big Doo Doo. You're just like, is this the same? Is this the same franchise? But I would take that any day over the cringe stuff in The Force Awakens. Who talks first? You talk first or I talk first?
I'll say this, though. I think Disney, when they first got the Star Wars IP, they started off on a good note with me personally. I did enjoy Rebels a lot. That was one of their first big properties or first big shows they put out. I remember watching Star Wars Rebels, and I did enjoy that.
I enjoyed some of it. It felt like a very big step down from the Clone Wars.
It did, but at the same time, if you watch like the first couple seasons of Clone Wars, it didn't take them to being almost canceled, where they kind of got their asses in gear and started making some really good content. That's for sure. Especially because that Clone Wars movie that they made with the little Jabba the Hutt baby too that they had to rescue, that was bad. That was really bad.
Oh yeah, and they had Zero the Hutt.
Yeah,
Zero. They created a character named Zero the Hutt who sounds like a Southerner.
yeah. Oh yeah, Jedi.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay. I was like, okay. So one thing I did like about the Clone Wars was that when you had like the established characters who were in the movies, you knew they were safe. You knew Anakin, Obi-Wan, Palpatine, all those characters were safe. It was the characters that they introduced in the show, like Ventress and Rex and Ahsoka, they weren't safe. So that was part of the appeal that I saw in the Clone Wars, and it got crazy like that, especially because they even promoted the show that way, especially season 5. Like you have the Emperor looming over like the new characters, like who's gonna kick the bucket and all that. Of course, we find out it's gonna be Savage Opress, Maul's brother.
He got bodied horribly.
Yes, he did by Palpatine. So like he was kicking everybody's butt, but then Palpatine comes in and just slays him.
Yeah,
fights him and Maul, and I was like, dude, like this. That was probably my favorite lightsaber fight in the entire show. Was that I was hoping to see more, but hey, whatever.
Yeah,
like it's a shame they did not adapt Son of Dathomir, which was the arc that would have taken place right after that one, where Maul escapes Palpatine's custody and teams up with Mother Talzin to basically take on to take on Palpatine and to take on Palpatine himself. And they do this by plotting to capture Count Dooku.
Right.
And then she would possess Count Dooku. And so, yeah, so that was a wild thing. And of course, that's how Mother Talzin actually meets her demise in that story. And I don't know how they chose to adapt instead of adapting that, they chose to adapt the Bad Batch instead. Even I haven't watched the Bad Batch. AC really enjoys it. I might check it out at some point.
I don't have Disney Plus, so I haven't watched any of that stuff.
Yeah, okay, so you haven't watched like Tales of the Sith or Tales of the Jedi or whatever?
Well, I think after they messed up book of Boba Fett, I just kind of said I'm kind of done.
Oh yeah, I knew what they were going to do when I saw the the final couple episodes of Mandalorian season 2 and how they handled Boba Fett right there. I knew they were going to do something like that, so I didn't even watch Boba Fett. The only thing I watched from Boba Fett were the Luke Skywalker scenes, and even then, I wasn't impressed. I was like, you directly ripped off of the movie Lone Wolf and Cub with the whole choose the ball or the helmet, or choose the helmet or the lightsaber. In Lone Wolf and Cub, it was either choose the ball or the sword. If the baby chose the ball, the baby would die. If he chose the sword, he would go on with his father to live in hell because they're being hunted by the government, by the shogunate and all that. So it was basically that, and I was just like, okay, so you undid the ending of season 2, and you brought so if you when you start season 3 then of Mandalorian, they're all, for some reason, Baby Yoda's back with the Mandalorian. I refuse to call them by their names. Their names are stupid. Grogu, dumb.
Well,
Din Djarin, dumb.
Like Red Letter Media really just covered that whole no one's ever really gone.
Yeah, exactly.
That whole montage of just like a stormtrooper blowing up on a Death Star, and like, oh my god, don't worry,
if you want to go full Red Letter Media, I don't even think that's the Mandalorian. Oh my god, it's Boba Fett. It's Boba Fett, everybody.
Yeah, that is they're making fun of those nerd podcasts where they love everything. I saw Star Wars and clapped. Yeah.
Hey, exactly. hey, don't ask questions. Don't question things. Just consume product.
Yeah, such a memorable line, and I love the fact that they're also Milwaukee boys too. So I get a lot of their references too.
Oh yeah, that's right. They actually are not too far.
No,
they're probably in some random. They probably shoot their stuff in some random warehouse.
Yeah,
they probably rent, and I don't know, like, yeah. Like when it comes to satire, I think they're one of the best on the platform.
Oh, they're one of the best. I like their critiques. They're very fair. They're very balanced. A lot. I love just their whole dynamics. They always make me laugh. And like I said, what I like about them too is because they're Wisconsin people too. They like to point out movies that have Wisconsin places in them.
Yeah, that's true. I can't even think. It was what movies take place in Wisconsin?
Oh, they always have some obscure fact about a movie, some crappy indie movie they found, and they're like, I know it's shot in Bellevue, Wisconsin. Here you go, population.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't Dawn of the Dead shot in Wisconsin, Milwaukee, or was that Pittsburgh?
Which one? The original?
The remake.
I don't know. I haven't seen I've only seen the original George Romero.
Oh, you never seen the
Zack Snyder one? No.
The Zack Snyder and James Gunn one?
No.
It's actually really good.
They both directed that one?
I think James Gunn was a writer on that one.
Okay, when James Gunn was edgy with his inappropriate tweets, right? Yeah.
Ironically enough,
that got him fired from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Yeah.
And then they brought him back because we don't have anybody else.
Ironically, I always say to people that when they fired James Gunn, that was when the MCU really failed the first time.
Did it? I mean, I always thought the MCU was pretty solid until after Endgame, and then things just started to decline for them.
So this is what happened, all right? This is the rumor mill. After Endgame, it was supposed to be James Gunn that was supposed to take over the MCU, kind of like what he's doing right now for DC Universe.
Oh, by the way, did you see that Superman still?
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what's going on. Let me know when I have a trailer.
It's gotten a lot of hate from a lot of people. Like, this is everybody's like, why are you especially about the costume, and he's just sitting there looking depressed and all that. And I mean, my buddy Dread Roberts is like, why would I want to watch this? Why would this get me or anybody else excited?
Yeah.
So, but then again, like for some reason, the big thing was there's a collar. Like, he's wearing a collar around his neck. Like, why would you do that with Superman? You want to show off his trips. You want to show off his neck. For Superman.
Yeah. And I kind of want to address one point here. Nerdy Neo, yes, he was a screenwriter on the Dawn of the Dead remake.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yes, and then also, all right, JT needs to understand, and some people don't understand Eagle Man insurance over here.
Oh, I have something for you.
Wow!
Oh
Look
my
at
gosh,
those
we got the
rates.
eggs, the rates. Yeah, I was showing people. I was showing younger coworkers a few years ago that commercial. They're like, "What the heck is this?" I'm like, "It's a commercial."
Yeah, you don't understand Eagle Man. If you aren't from the northern Illinois area, I don't know about southern Illinois, but Eagle Man insurance.
Oh, bro, you know what? I'm gonna look. I want to show it right now. Eagle Man Insurance. This is gold. This is gold. Oh, just looking at the thumbnail. All right,
Yeah, bring this up real quick.
all right. Presents share screen. Uh, Entire screen. No. All right, there we go. Turn on the audio. All right, we got a stupid ad, so we got to play through the ad. All right, here it is. C97.
Do you have insurance on this car?
No.
This is my childhood right here.
The same here. It's something for you.
That's some high quality acting right there.
Yes, some of the best. I wonder, is there another commercial? I'm curious if there's another one.
I think there was like one more, if I recall. I can't remember. I think there were only 2 Eagle Man commercials.
Oh, this one. I think this is the other one.
Yeah, this is when they got the diversity hire to play Eagle Woman. Good 773. There you go.
Yep.
Oh, that's Man Cow, right?
That is Man Cow.
Yeah, that's right. Another Chicago legend right there, Man Cow.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
What the heck? No. Eagle Woman. This that was the Hancock building, by the way.
Yes. Herbie Hancock. God dang. This takes me back to so many memories right here.
All right, that's good. That's good enough. So someone actually download. There's a channel called Eagle Insurance. It's got 161 subscribers. I just noticed that the Cadillac that Mancow is in at the end doesn't have a sunroof, but the car he is in at the beginning clearly does. Same thing happened in the original commercial with the 2 women. The car there is a 4-door, but when they get out, it's a 2-door Chevy Beretta. Wow! So the continuity is top notch. There we go. Gold. Gold right there.
JT Mancow was just a rip-off Chicago Midwest version of Howard Stern or Opie and Anthony.
Yeah, I mean, he was. I saw when I went and I saw Shatner, William Shatner, live. He was presenting. They were presenting the Wrath of Khan in Rosemont back, I think, a few years ago. And yeah, Mancow was there to kind of introduce him and make jokes, kind of on the side and all that. But that's the only time I've ever seen Mancow. I was like, who is that? I'm like, oh, that's him. So yeah. But yeah, man. So I forget to go back into the gaming territory.
Sure.
What was your first system? I think you said you skipped Super Nintendo, or did you not?
My first system that was actually mine was an N64.
Oh, okay.
And the reason for that was because my mom used to nanny for a wealthy family. And the woman that she nanny for Christmas one year bought me a Nintendo 64 one year. And the next year she bought me a PlayStation 1.
Oh, you got both. Nice.
Yes.
N64 I didn't get right away. So that was one of the few systems I actually rented from the video store. 15 you rent 1996 1997 $15, rent the system, and you get two games come with it. So
Nice.
I'm sure you can guess which two games were my first. Well, you might not guess. You might guess one. You might not guess
Super Mario N64. It's got to be one of them, right? Number two, though, that's a tough one. I'm gonna go with like probably an obvious one, but I'm probably wrong. Is it a Zelda game?
No, Zelda didn't come out yet.
Okay.
Ocarina did not come out for 2 years.
Okay.
So the game that I got along with Mario 64 that my dad got me
was Wrecking Crew.
No. Shadows of the Empire, Star Wars.
Yeah.
Shadows of the Empire. So
nice.
So at that time I started. So before like I said, Star Wars was my gateway into science fiction. So I got the original trilogy the year before, watched them all, the original versions of the original trilogy before 1997, before George Lucas did, left his, he put his dirty paws on the original trilogy and changed things. I had the original versions, and with that, I was able to, what built up my further interest was playing the game Shadows of the Empire, which is an interquel that takes place between Empire and Jedi. So playing the Hoth stage where you get to take on probe droids and the ATSTs. Yeah, there were ATSTs in that one. And then you get to the AT-ATs, and then that's where it gets kind of hard because, you have to shoot a tow cable and you have to be very precise with the joystick on when you're going around the legs with the tow cable and all that. So that was that kind of once again cemented my fandom into Star Wars, playing that game, and then getting into it. It just got me more interested in the universe. I mean, I remember the commercials. I remember like the book came out. They came out with a soundtrack. I think they came out with a toy line for Shadows of the Empire comic series. But the game was pretty much the one that really got me into it in the first place. And it was fun. My first 3D game that wasn't Mario was a Star Wars game. I'll never forget it. And I still have fond memories to this day. I want to eventually do a video retrospective on that game. I've just been really slow with videos the last few months. So that's something I got to get back into. But I did do one on Mario 64. Mario 64. That was a fun transition from 2D to 3D for me. I don't know. You probably grew up with 3D games in the first place, so it's for second nature to you. Yeah. It took me a while to learn the 3D thing. Like depth perception and me were not friends when 64 came out.
Yeah, my first gaming experiences were pretty interesting. Obviously, because I was a kid, the two things I loved more in life were Pokemon and Star Wars. So the N64 was like the perfect machine to me because it had both. So you had like Rogue Squadron, you had Battle for Naboo, you had Shadows of the Empire, which I had all those games. And then, of course, I had both Pokemon Stadiums, Pokemon Puzzle League, Pokemon Snap. Anything Pokemon, anything Star Wars I had. And the only games that I kind of had that weren't one of those was obviously Mario Kart, Star Fox 64, which is still probably one of my top 20 games of all time. I still love Star Fox.
Star Fox is interesting because I didn't play the original Super Nintendo game. I mean, I knew it was the FX chip look that the game came out with back in the early 90s. I remember seeing the commercial. I never rented it. It just never really interested me. But then I saw a demo of Star Fox 64 at the store. I think it was Target or something. And I was like, dude, this looks great. Yeah. And I looked at the gameplay. I was like, dude, I got to rent this. So the next time I rented the N64, I rented Star Fox, and I enjoyed it. And then it was so interesting. I never played a rail shooter before that. And then the whole idea of mission complete versus mission accomplished also, interested me quite a bit. Like, oh, you can go to different parts of the solar system if you do certain things.
Oh yeah, I was obsessed with Star Fox 64 growing up as a kid because it just like spoke to me. Like you said, it was a rail shooter, but it was like I got to control my own spaceship in that, and really, it basically felt like Star Wars. That's really what it was. It was just like This felt like a Star Wars game that wasn't a Star Wars game, and Falco was cool, and everyone too. I was just like, yeah, this is so fun as a kid. And
I guess I should be thankful. Oh, Falco is such a dick.
I love Falco. Falco's still one of my favorites.
Do you? I mean, if they now with Nintendo adapting their properties now, I mean, Mario got a movie. Mario's getting a second movie. Zelda's getting a live action movie. What do you think they're going to do with Star Fox? Do you think it's going to be like another animated show, kind of like along the lines of the Clone Wars, that type of animation style, but kind of donning a Top Gun?
I hope they don't go like live action for that, obviously, because I think that'd be nightmare fuel. But like other things too is I feel like Star Fox would be a good TV show if they want to try to like throw out some like properties just to make a TV show. I mean, they already did that with F-Zero. I could see them trying to bring F-Zero back that way a little bit too.
Make it like a TV show,
like an anime or something like that.
Anime.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I wanted with Zelda. I think Zelda would have been perfect as an anime. I'm not sure. I don't know how. I'm still can't fathom a live action Zelda. I don't know if you've played all the Zeldas, but I mean, unless they just simply give Link give an actor pointed ears like Spock, give Link pointed ears, and I don't know how you can make a movie out of Zelda. To be perfectly honest.
I mean, it's kind of like the same thing that they did with Mario, I guess you could say. It's like, how are they going to really do a Mario movie? And I think they did a good job with it. I saw it with my wife in theaters, and I'm like, this is not terrible. This is very fun. This is very family friendly. If you get the right people who kind of respect the lore and kind of can just work it and just make it their own thing, where it's like, listen, we aren't exactly going to 100% one for one have an adaptation of, a Mario game, but at the same time, if you can make a world that feels like this belongs in the world that you're making it for, like with Zelda, you got to wait and see, of course. But if you can make it have a kind of dark, oppressive tone a little bit, if you're going live action route, I feel like you could do something good with Zelda, especially if you got Ganon.
Yeah, I mean, if they're gonna do something Zelda related, I want it to feel like. I mean, I hate to bring it in, but I want it to feel like the Lord of the Rings prologue, because my favorite Zeldas are the ones that have the Link to the Past is a very strong prologue where it sets up the stakes like right away, right. And the opening part of Ocarina of Time does an equivalent thing. Now, Ocarina doesn't have an opening prologue, but it has an opening segment where we're like, okay, there's a looming threat. There's a looming threat, and let's just say for instance, the Deku Tree in Ocarina is in danger. We get that, and so we have to make haste really quickly. Link to the Past, Zelda's all the major maidens, all the major descendants of the seven seals, the seven sages, are being dispatched one by one, and we see one of them on Aghanim, the wizard's altar, and he makes them vanish. And as far as we're concerned, the audience, they're dead. And so Zelda is in the dungeon, and the thing that it says, and I use, and that's my final clip that I use for my intro for Chillporeal, is the Zelda's fate, Zelda, the time of destiny for Princess Zelda is drawing near, right. And that just gets you like, dude, I gotta play this now. We have to save Zelda. We have to do this. So I want, if they're gonna make a movie, the movie has to set the stakes right away, and we have to get we have to feel like a danger, that there's a potential danger that something bad could happen.
You know what? I say fuck it. They should just do the CDI Zelda, and that's what they should be inspired for their live action one. See, I want a guy going, "Excuse me, princess." Let's just do it.
That's the animated show. That's the original animated show that I saw before I ever played any of the Zeldas. I played Zelda. First Zelda I ever played was Zelda 2 on the NES, The Adventure of Link. So I thought every Zelda game was a side-scrolling platform.
Yeah.
And then I got the red Zelda, which is the original Zelda. So on the box, the original box, you have a golden box and you have a sword, and it says Adventure of Link in Blue. Link's in blue print. And then the original Zelda is a gold box, but it has a shield. And then it says the Legend of, and then it says Zelda in red. So I say Red Zelda, Blue Link, 2 games for the NES. The Red Zelda was nothing like the Blue Link. It wasn't a side-scrolling platformer. It was a top-down game. It was a top-down game I never played before. There's no jumping. All you do is thrust your sword and use some items and bomb every freaking wall in the game and burn every bush in the game, and you'll find something. You'll find a cave. You'll find a secret room, and yeah, that's. I didn't beat those games for years because no internet. I didn't have money to buy a game guide. I didn't have the Nintendo Power hotline number. I couldn't just call and ask, hey, can you help me with this? I didn't know what to do, so I didn't do it until I was old enough to figure it out. So, but yeah, that's my sorry. I kind of went into my own history with Zelda, but I think if they have a good prologue that sets up the stakes right away, and they pay it off well, I think it could work.
Yeah, when they go the live action route, they either have to make it like a comedy or they have to make it kind of darker and oppressive.
It's got to be there can be some humor, there can be some not lenient levity. There can be some levity with in between the dark scenes, but there's got to be weight. It's an epic fantasy. There's got to be weight. There's got to be stakes, really high stakes. It can't just be comedy, in my opinion.
Yeah,
same with a Metroid. I've talked. I don't know. Have you played any Metroids?
I'm not really the biggest Metroid fan. My buddy Fernando is the bigger Metroid fan, Mr. Metal Shred Freak.
I mean, if you like Zelda, Zelda and Metroid are very similar types of story, not stories, similar types of games, and how they're laid out and how they're kind of, you play a certain thing, you get an upgrade, and then you're able to get to the next area or get to the next dungeon or whatever. Right. Same idea, same type of idea, the Metroidvania idea. So, but for Metroid, it would be a silent. It would have to be a silent. If it was a series, it'd have to be a silent series. And I've said this. There's a show called Primal that came out. It was done by the Clone Wars micro series theater. That was a silent show, but that silent show had told a lot of story. That I think would be a perfect Metroid show. You have Samus alone, and maybe she'd team up with one of the animals from Super Metroid. Maybe the baby Metroid would be another factor that would just team up with her. And you're like, okay, do they hate each other? Do they like each other? What's the bigger threat? Well, obviously Ridley, Mother Brain, you name it. I think they could do it. I think it would have to be CGI, but I would still prefer it be a silent, very moody, very drony soundtrack, very, very, but silent. With very limited characters, but everything's trying to murder them. Everything's trying to kill them, basically.
Yeah, high
just
action
like in
type
Primal.
of show.
So.
Yeah, I could see a high action type of movie show, something like that. Or they could just go the Alien route too and have it like be slow.
I mean, it pretty much was based off of Alien.
Oh yeah,
Metroid series.
So an oppressive, dark, claustrophobic environment.
I mean, where do you think they got the idea for self-destruct at the end of the game?
Oh yeah,
from Alien.
Course.
So I've been telling older people this. They're like, "What's this Metroid thing? I've never heard of this. I don't play video games. I'm old." Yeah, I know. I guess. Sorry. That was the last stream. We were doing an Alien stream, and I was saying all this stuff, and everybody's like, "What are you talking about?" And AC was there. It's like, "Oh, Brian's talking games. Nobody's getting what he's saying." So, but yeah, N64 Ocarina was my favorite game on that system. I really enjoyed that. I did a 5-hour video on it. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out.
I'm gonna have to.
The so what so N64 was your first system, and you said PS1. What'd you play? What'd you have on the PS1? I didn't get into PS1 until mid 2000s when I was in college, and I started discovering more JRPGs. So I'm just curious what you played.
Well, the only games that I really had an attachment for on the PS1 generation that I keep remembering fondly are Crash Bandicoot Warped, which is one game I played religiously, and Digimon World 2 and Digimon World. Those are the games I played the most on the PS1.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I never played any of those. I never Digimon. I did watch the anime Digimon.
Yeah.
I think Digimon was the very first time I watched a full anime show. It was on Fox Kids.
Yep.
Back in the day.
Deke.
I came home from Deke. Yep, came home from high school. Yeah, I was a freshman in high school. I watched Digimon, and yeah.
The first Digimon game was kind of like you got a random Digimon and you had to raise it and then you had to do some fight stuff. I was a kid, so I didn't understand the battle system too much. So every time your Digimon would digivolve, they would always turn into the poop monster and they would just eat their own poop in the game.
Yeah.
But Digimon World 2 was one where you got to pick like a little Digimon team. So there's like one for Data, Virus, and Vaccine. So you got to pick one of those guys. You got like a starter Digimon. And then it was a dungeon crawler. And you go through dungeons and kind of get stuff out of the dungeons. And you could find random Digimon in the dungeons and shoot like toy airplanes at them. And then they would make them friendly. And then you would beat them in a battle and they would join your team. It was basically a JRPG dungeon crawler.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't. Yeah. So how similar is it to Pokemon?
Very different.
Very different?
Not even close to being like the same thing.
Because I know in Digimon, you know, the Digimon are intelligent. They can talk to you. You don't really catch them. They're basically your guardian. At least that's how the show was. I'm not sure how the games are.
The games are like all over the place because they don't seem to know what they want to do with the franchise Bandai Namco. So like each Digimon world was like a different type of game. There's like, I believe 4 mainline Digimon World games, and then they have like 3 spin-off ones that they made later for the PS4.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, maybe someday I'll play those. I don't know. I mean, I think they still make them. Don't they still make them?
Yeah, they came out with one where it's like Digimon Survive, but I haven't played that one, so I don't know anything about it.
Did you play any Did you play JRPGs for PS1? Final Fantasy 7?
So I didn't get into JRPGs. Well, if we're gonna be honest here, yes, I kind of play JRPGs, but I didn't play like real JRPGs. Like I didn't play Gears. I didn't play, Luna. I didn't play Arc the Lad. I didn't play any of these games when I was a kid because I was 7. And
I didn't even know what an RPG was.
Yeah,
well, at that age.
I did because of Pokemon, but it's kind of like baby's first RPG is Pokemon for a lot of people too. Like for me, it was Pokemon, but no, I didn't start really getting into the JRPG scene until the PS2 generation. That's when I really started to play more JRPGs because that's when I was like getting out of my single digits and getting into my preteen, early teen years,
By the way, what's up, RPG? Another Discord member.
Nice.
No, I was asking you.
Oh no. I don't actually know this guy.
Welcome.
Familiar.
Welcome. By the way, Wind Waker I don't like it better than Ocarina. Breath of the Wild I don't like. Period. Because it's just so different from classic Zelda and everything. So, but yeah, I know it's a hot take, but yeah, I played Breath of the Wild. I played it all the way, found it underwhelming. Been having a hard time really getting interested in Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom is closer in line with classic Zelda than Breath of the Wild was. Yeah, it got to a point where Breath of the Wild got pretty boring. So that's just me.
Yeah.
So, But yeah, dude, you played, you got, did you get Xbox?
Yeah, so this was like the last generation before I stopped talking to my father because my parents are divorced too. So I actually was also lucky enough to get because I had the drunk dad that would go on the weekends. So he just buy me the consoles, and while he would be passed out sleeping in the bed because he was drunk, I'd just be playing video games all night. So I did have the Xbox, the GameCube, and the PS2 for that generation.
Xbox for me, I started playing. I was just like, oh, there's a new console because I remember the Dreamcast just came out. I was in eighth grade. I saw a preview. I saw a clip of a demo of the first 3D Sonic. I
Right.
was surprised they didn't even come out with a Sonic for the Saturn. I did own a Genesis. I did play the Sonic games. The thing was I had a second version of the Genesis, and that console, after less than a year, it just bricked on me.
Oh
It
wow.
bricked. So whenever I put a game in, it goes Sega, and then it would freeze. It would just freeze. And so it would. So, and I thought I tried it with the other game. It was not the game's problem. It was the console. So I was kind of SOL playing any more Sega games because I used to switch between NES, Super NES, and at that time Sega on the TV. I had a little little like 15, 16 inch 18-inch TV.
Yeah.
TV from like 1980. It was a Panasonic. So had that. And so I couldn't play any more Sonics. I didn't get a Genesis again until I was old enough until I had my own money and I was working. I think I was
Right.
senior in high school and all that. So, but I noticed another console came out, and it had, like, I remember seeing it at a Best Buy, and I noticed, like, I was watching there was a football game. I don't know if it was Madden or something. I was really impressed with the graphics on the thing, and I was looking at, like, what is this, Microsoft? I was like, Microsoft's making this Xbox. What is this Xbox? And then I see. I think it came. I forget when it exactly came out. It came out in 2001, I think.
Yep.
And it came with another game that I first saw in 2002. So I played GoldenEye. I played GoldenEye in high school. It was my first ever first-person shooter.
Yep.
And I was kind of used to that type of movement and that type of control and all that. Then all of a sudden, I'm watching. I'm at a hotel. We're in Central Illinois for a wrestling tournament. I was senior. This was 2000. This was like winter of 2002, going into 2003. And I see some of my teammates playing this first person shooter, and they're moving really quickly. They're moving really fluently, and they're shooting the crap out of each other. I'm like, what is this? I think someone said it was Angel or something. At least I thought they said Angel, but then I realized no, they said Halo. I just thought Angel because I associate Halo with Angel and all that. So
Oh yeah.
so I saw that, and then like the following few months later, I met some new friends. I went to church youth group at a different church that I didn't grow up at. I've only been there for like a year or so. I met some new friends who were also nerds like me. So it was this big church youth group. They mostly played sports, really good at sports, didn't play a whole lot of video games. But I met some nerdy people who somehow weren't part of that church, but they came there. I met them, I became friends with them. And the first thing we ever did was hang out and play Halo, did LAN parties. And this was like 2003. So, and then I played it. I was terrible at it. I always got last place. My name was the Beast because I was a hairy dude. So I used to get made fun of quite a bit for that. So I call myself the Beast. And I always lost, like, no matter what, because I always try to go in for the kill. I just run in and do that because that was my habit, as playing platformers and playing Mega Man shooters and RPGs. You just mash and then you see something, you kill it right away. Well, I wasn't used to playing multiplayer because I didn't have friends, and my brother was too young to play multiplayer with me, so I didn't play a whole lot of multiplayer. So when I actually played against other people, I realized, wow, I'm humbled. I'm actually terrible at video games. I'm not as good as I thought I was. So So Halo was one of those humbling moments in my life that just made me realize, okay, maybe I'm not the best at certain things, certain aspects of video games. So, and I actually played some Halo not too long ago with my buddy Dread Roberts and AC. And they're like, "What you want to play? You want to play against us?" I'm like, "Dude, if I play against you guys are gonna be bored. You guys are gonna hate me because I'm not gonna provide much of a challenge." We played Halo. It was a lot of fun. Have you? I'm taking you play. Have you played a lot of Halo?
Oh, easily. Halo's my number 2 like gaming franchise of all time. To me, it's very important. I have a lot of fun memories of just obviously Halo multiplayer from Halo 2, which was the first video game I ever bought myself because I had to get that Steelbook edition from GameStop. That was like the one thing I had to make sure to get. So I have a lot of fun memories with Halo. One of them is one of my uncles was from Indiana, so his family was still around the Indianapolis area. So every year we'd go to the Indianapolis 500. And one year I took one of my buddies and his dad, and it was our dads. They were driving, obviously, and we were in the back, and he had one of those big vans, and in the back of the van they had a little CRT TV, and we hooked it up to the Xbox to that little CRT TV. So all the way from Indianapolis and back, we're just playing Halo on the way to the Indianapolis 500 and back from the Indianapolis 500, just eating cold Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's like one of my favorite memories of all time for video games.
That's pretty cool, man. Halo, like I don't remember this. So there was a steelbook for Halo Combat Evolved.
No,
I
Halo 2.
remember there was Halo 2 was the one. Yeah, that's the one I know. That's one I had. I think my buddy borrowed it, and I don't think I ever got it back. So my brother's like, "Where is it?" I'm like, "Well, it's gone." But yeah, I think it was Halo when Halo 2 came out. I liked playing Halo enough, and then my friends we used to play in my friend's brother's room, and he had this big poster of Knights of the Old Republic. I'm like, "What is this game? Is this game any good? This Knights of the Old Republic?" And he's like, "Dude, it's probably one of the best Star Wars games ever made." I was like, interesting. Better than Shadows of the Empire? It's like, yes. I was like, okay, fair. I'll consider it. And then, I was like, what? I want to play that. I want to play that game. I want to play Halo. And Halo 2 was coming out. So I was like, you know what? I decided to buy the original Xbox, even though it was like on its like last couple of years. It was 2000. This was 2004 when the Halo 2 dropped. And so I bought that game. I got KOTOR, and then KOTOR 2 came out shortly after that. Dude, those games got me even more excited for the final prequel. So episode 2 came out. This was 2002. So I played these games in 2004, both KOTOR 1 and KOTOR 2. These games got me so excited to be a Star Wars fan. Like Revenge of the Sith, like I was so excited for Revenge of the Sith when I played those games. And what's funny is like the destruction of the Jedi happened before Revenge of the Sith. They happened in KOTOR 2, the Sith Lords.
Oh, yes. I love KOTOR 2 a lot too, especially because of the conversion system that they had.
What conversion system? I'm trying to remember.
So in KOTOR 2, you had the ability to pretty much make all your companions into Jedi.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
all of them. Interesting.
Yeah, there was only like a select few that you couldn't do. The hardest one was Bio Dirk, the Darth Maul alien. But like when I was able to make him into a Jedi, I was like air pumping. I was like, "Oh hell yeah! You can make this dude a Jedi." I couldn't wait. I couldn't believe it. I was like, this was one of the coolest things about that game that has not been done in any other Star Wars game since, and because EA kind of killed out the market for that. But if I could just get a game like that again, I'll take anything at this point, even if it's in the stupid High Republic. I will take anything. But I could make a party, like just have an RPG party. And I could be a Jedi or Sith again, and I could just make all my companions, even if they are just like random people off the street, into Jedi eventually. That would be the day, like that. gold standard of like just Star Wars games right there is KOTOR 2's Jedi conversion system.
I really like the tone. I really like the tone, the dark tone of KOTOR 2. Just the feeling that you're being hunted, especially in the beginning of that game. Like I still remember the feeling. It still gives me the heebie-jeebies at points. The it's been a while since I played it. I hear like they didn't do a good job with they ported it to the Switch, and they were supposed to incorporate everything, including the HK factory, but they didn't even do that.
Yeah, there's some cut content that was not in there. You know,
Yeah.
I've never played it because I just kind of found out about the stuff recently. But with everything that's been going on with Embracer and Aspire Media, and I guess the KOTOR remake and stuff behind the scenes, it sounds like we won't be getting that for the Switch content, which is the sad part about it.
Yeah.
So the best way to still play it is on the PC.
Yeah. So I figure, there's a way to play it. It'd be, like you're talking like Steam or something?
Yeah, Steam.
Okay. Yeah, I've been using my Steam account more and more lately. Maybe because I'm just too lazy to hook up my console to my capture card and all that. So, just saying. So, are you currently playing anything? Anything you're really enjoying now?
I've been playing a lot of games because they came up with this term on the Microsoft Twitter for Game Pass. They were like talking about like what kind of gamer are you, and there was a term on there that kind of stuck with me. It's like the grazer, where it's like I kind of will dabble on a game for an hour, see if it sticks, and if it doesn't like stick with me, then I just move on to something else. But I've been playing my Vita a lot more lately. I know that I've been playing a game called Soul Sacrifice, which I've brought this up a couple times now, but the Vita shockingly did not have any Monster Hunter games on it. So they had a shit ton of Monster Hunter clones. And Soul Sacrifice, why not? While it may not be an exact Monster Hunter like clone, there's a lot of Monster Hunter style influences into that game for a handheld Monster Hunter game. And it's very interesting, very cool story. Rest in peace, Studio Japan. You are sorely missed from the Sony first party stables. But very interesting game where you play as like a sorcerer, and like when you activate like a super move, it costs you like your a body part or something too. So there's like a risk reward system where like you can pump out maximum damage, but you also like lose 50% of your defensive capabilities too. It's a very interesting, unique game for the Vita. And they also had a plus version, which is like the definitive edition for that for the Vita.
Oh, interesting. I never had a Vita, so I can't really comment on that. I know the PSP had like several, like I know they had some Mega Man remakes, like they had a original Mega Man remake, and they had Mega Man X remake, Maverick Hunter. Vita, I mean, people like the Vita apparently. I never really saw, I know the original PSP was super duper expensive compared to what Nintendo had. I forget if the Vita was super expensive too.
I think I'm trying to remember. I think the PSP was $200 because I think I bought that for my 8th grade graduation with my 8th grade graduation money.
Okay.
And I want to say that the PlayStation Vita was $250 at launch. I can't remember off the top of my head because I didn't have a Vita. During this time when like from 2013 to about 2016, 2017, I was actually playing TCG games. I was like really big into Yu-Gi-Oh! I was briefly sponsored for a little bit to play the Pokemon TCG game. So like that's where most of my time went. I got back into gaming around 2016, 2017. That's when I started to really get back into gaming.
Yeah, 2016. What came out in 2016? I'm trying to remember. What games came out around that time? What other games came out around that time?
I think I the first game I got really back into when I started getting back into gaming was Fallout 4. I think that's when that came out. Was 2016.
Oh, no, it's 2015. Yeah, I still haven't. I still have that game. I still have the game on my PS4. I haven't opened it. A lot of games from that era. I've only played a handful. So 2016. I know Resident. Have you ever played Resident Evil? 2017.
Oh, of course.
I think Biohazard came out. Resident Evil
Yeah.
Biohazard came out. I played that one. That game was terrifying. It took a lot of inspiration from like a combination of horror. Like, one guy represented The Shining, the dad, the son represented like the Saw movies, the mother. She turns into a bug or something. So I don't know what she represented.
The Thing.
Candyman, The Thing. I don't know. So yeah, I'm just trying to remember what games came out around that time. Yeah, my love for video games has declined quite a bit because what I perceive as the quality of AAA titles now just feeling like there's more of the same. They all kind of copy each other. Nintendo's like the only exception, but even Nintendo has gotten to a point where even Nintendo themselves are, in my opinion, are turning mediocre. Like all they're doing now is remaking stuff, and they might come out with a new game. But I mean, Zelda was one of my all-time favorite series, and then when they decided to go the open world route and make it more of a run-of-the-mill type of game, I mean, I know there were some interesting new mechanics that they used. Ultimately, it wasn't as enjoyable as I was hoping it would be. Like I initially supported the idea of an open world game where everything was open up to each other. But the more I thought about it, they made the world too big to the point where each of the areas were not really unique. Like they were just it took away some. There was a lot less impact in what you did in the game because of that, and each area was not really as unique or interesting, so to speak. I mean, yes, you can climb everywhere. You can find a shrine. Finding the shrines was fun. Some of the shrines were actually pretty good. When you weren't, doing a copy and paste. Felt like a lot of the game felt copy and paste, and there's just like there were areas where there was like nothing in it. So I felt like they probably should have. If you're gonna make a big area, a big world that has 12 areas, put a freaking dungeon in each of the 12 areas. Why make only 4 main dungeons that barely take up any time? That was my initial gripe, and then the shrines just felt very repetitive after a point. And then the game itself felt pretty repetitive too. But I wanted to complete everything because I'm a Zelda fan. So, but by the time I beat the game, I was just very underwhelmed with the experience. I was just happy to be done with it. It felt like a chore. So that's kind of why I gave Tears of the Kingdom a chance, but then I got the same thing, and then this time I just don't have the drive to finish it. I played it for like about 20 hours, 30, 40 hours. I felt like I was wasting my time.
Yeah, I feel like
I just don't have the time anymore to put. I mean, young kids, I guess have time. I don't have time to put all that time into. I don't have time to put 200 hours into a game. I don't know how people do it with Elden Ring and all that. So,
well, it's just some people get really hooked into a game. It happens. It all depends on if the game hooks you or not.
I mean, back in the day, I'd never played an RPG before. I rented Super Mario RPG. I would stay up till I was 11 years old. I'd be staying up till 3 or 4 a.m. I'd be very quiet with the TV, very quiet, make sure I wasn't making any noise when I was sitting on the floor right in front of the TV. So that there were times where I got caught. I got caught being up late playing video games during the summer, and I get grounded for it. Or I'd be told to turn it off, and I wouldn't be able to save it. So, but yeah, I know. I mean, I know it's like to. I mean, I was obsessed with Ocarina of Time when it came out. I wanted to beat. I was so invested in what was going on. I was so invested in Link, and I was so invested in the characters that you meet. And when all of a sudden all the shit goes down, and you have the world goes to hell. There's a time jump. What happened to all of Link's friends? I wanted to know. They were missing. We didn't know if they were dead or alive, and it was something like that just made me more invested, made me want to keep playing. A lot of stuff now just doesn't really do that.
I mean, there's still a lot of video games that I that are new that come out every year that I'm still excited about. Last year, like, had a lot of those games that I really did enjoy. Like, I really did enjoy Hogwarts Legacy, even though I'm not a Harry Potter fan at all. Like, I bought it for my wife, and then she finally broke me. She's like, just play it. And I sat down and played it. I'm like, this is pretty fun, It's like, for a first attempt at what the Harry Potter world was, I'm like, this does a really good job, like, respecting like the lore. Like, a lot of the stuff, like, I have no idea, but my wife's telling me, like, oh, this is why this is in the game, and this is why this background's in there, and everything else like that. I just really enjoyed it. It was a nice, good time sink. I enjoyed exploring the world of Hogwarts and Hogsmeade a lot. There was a lot of good attention to detail into that game. But the thing is with a lot of these other games that are coming out too, it's just, you are right. They are very long. They can be sluggish. And I think some people are just kind of getting burned down on it. It's one of my second gripes with a lot of Sony games. The first one being the writing is just terrible. And their second part is that their games are just open world trudge fest. I stopped playing Horizon Forbidden West because I'm like, this game is just too bloated and it doesn't respect my time,
It's funny. I was thinking Horizon too. I was surprised you actually were saying what I was thinking. I've never played Horizon, but I'm aware of the changes that they made, especially with the sequel. Like, character looked pretty in the first one.
I mean, she looked ugly in the first one. I'm just gonna be honest here. I played Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm gonna tell you this right now. It's a fun game. Like, the concept of the world is fun, and that the story is just dog shit. It's always been stupid, but they found a way to even make the story more dumb in the second game, and the world more bloated. My biggest problem is this. Okay, I say this all the time. You get a open world game. You got a whole bunch of these, like, time waster activities, whatever you want to say about them. Because I got the platinum trophy for Horizon Zero Dawn, because I'm like, I generally enjoyed the gameplay,
Yeah.
Like, it was fun, especially when it got the 60 FPS patch and it actually played a lot better than at 30. That really made it much more enjoyable and much better. The story was so stupid. I just look at it and go, like, how could anyone say this is smart? Just no spoilers for anyone, but right now. But I'm just like, the story is so stupid that it just, like, blew my mind. But I'm like, okay, I'll just power through this because I'm enjoying the gameplay. But they do the sequel, and they just keep all the side missions from the first game, and then they double them with, like, new side missions. And it's just like, come on, guys. I work like 10 hours a day, I don't want to, like, waste my time continuously doing the same side missions over and over and over again. That's, like, my one big complaint with them, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with, with current Zelda. The one game that I did like, that I played, that was open world, that had weight to what you were doing, everything, and then it was just like, the story was interesting, the writing was interesting, and then the show Shogun comes out and makes me want to replay this. This is Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima, another really good game that I loved playing a lot too, but I feel like they're just going to fuck up the sequel.
You think so?
Sony has been on a tear recently where they had, like, that really good run from the PS4 era, and now that really good run of the PS4 era is over, all the sequels I've played have been just disappointing to dog shit.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It just seems like unless more people call their crap, it just seems like it's on a down it's on a down spiral trajectory. Like, it's just like, games are just getting worse and worse and worse as time goes on. And I don't want that to happen, but
I here's the problem, and I have when people say, like, oh, games are getting worse and worse and worse. I don't necessarily agree with that statement, because I think gaming right now is,
it's oversaturated. It's like entertainment in the TV industry. It's oversaturated. There's a lot of you have to sift through a lot of the shit in order to find something that's good.
I wouldn't even say that you have to sift through a lot of shit. There's a lot of good games that come out every year. I just feel like there's always, like, that one turd that comes out, or that one controversy that comes out, and everyone harps on it for, like, a month or forever, and then they kind of just, like, never let it go. Or you have these, I just call them reactionaries on YouTube for another part, where they just make a video and they either misrepresent something that happens in the game or they get something wrong. And then a lot of people who don't play the game, who trust these people, they kind of just repeat the talking point. I feel like it's more so like when you're playing a game, I always find that it's best to just form your own opinion. I still go by the motto of like, if I see something that interests me, or if I have a friend that really highly recommends something to me, I still kind of just like, I'm going to make my own opinion about this. And then, like, if you like it, my opinion, that's fine. If you disagree with me, that's also fine. I just prefer to also have my own opinion on something. So I try not to, like, fully let people, like, influence what I'm doing in terms of, like, forming an opinion about something. But if somebody, like, says, for example, like, hey, this game's really good, I can vouch for it, I really believe that you were going to like this, yeah, I'm more inclined to take it out. I try to always tell people like what games I'm playing, what do I recommend, and how good it is. I like to also troll people sometimes and just say like, oh, like Stellar Blade's mid, I'll just say something like that. But when you like really sit down and talk to me, it's like, so what's your opinion on Stellar Blade? I'm like, listen, I'm probably about like 10 hours into the game. It's too early for me to give you a good review. I will say like for example, this is my honest take right now about Stellar Blade. The combat is pretty mediocre. The story is stupid, but the boss fights are cool. But besides that, I'm still too early in the game to give you a real review of the game,
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. I feel, I feel you do have to form your own opinion. But at the same time, if you hear somebody say something, and if it's not a game that particularly interests you, I mean, I'm likely not going to buy it. I mean,
oh yeah, of course.
Like everybody said, Breath of the Wild is a great game. It's one of the best games ever. It's 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. No, it's not. I played it.
Hey, listen, my buddy Brian. I think The Last of Us, the first one, people talk to me like it's Jesus Christ came down from the heavens and told them the secret of life, okay? I think it's one of the most overrated games of all time, And I played it. I listened to the hypes, but it's okay to
I enjoyed the story.
Yeah, I didn't. That's the thing. I just thought it was, one of those zombie cash grabs from that time.
I liked how it ended. I thought it was a very interesting. Idea. The character had to make a decision. He had to choose either humanity or he had to choose the girl. He chose the girl because of the fact that he was a father. He was a father and he lost his child because he failed to protect her. Well, he wanted to. Well, he had a chance to protect someone else. That's kind of why he made the decision he did. And so
I think Joel's one of the worst characters in video game history for that reason too alone.
Yeah, I mean it's
like I said, it's good to have a disagreement though,
Yeah.
If everyone just like, I always tell people this, I am not a very interesting person at all. So if everyone in the world thought and acted like me, the world would be a very boring place, And I want to hear people have like a passion for what they like, like if a bunch of people are saying the game's 10 out of 10, I also like to hear the people who go like, I'm a big Zelda fan, but this game's disappointing to me. And like my buddy Fernando, who I was talking about earlier, he had the same reaction with Tears of the Kingdom too. He said it was very disappointing of a game for him as well.
Well, I mean, everybody was praising Breath of the Wild, so they made more games like it. So they made their bed with Tears of the Kingdom. And Tears of the Kingdom is the better of the two games. It's just more that type of game that it's even that type of open world. Like it's just not something that just hasn't really grabbed me, hasn't really interested me. And plus, it requires lots of time, lots of your time, and I just don't have it.
I know.
Just traversing from point A to point B takes a very long time. I know, like if you eventually will get to save points and teleport points, but until then, like the game has just not done enough to warrant interest. It's the same world,
right?
They basically made a game that takes place in the exact same world. I felt like I was playing the same game. Yes, there's certain things that are different, but it's more or less feels like the same game. I don't know if it has the same shrines. It has 4 main dungeons or whatever it is. And like, dude, there was even a robot. You're in a robot or something. Like, this is Zelda. This is not Gundam. What is this? And
Right.
it's just, but this is a me. It's more of a me thing. Other
No.
people don't have a problem with it.
Listen, the only person that knows what you like is you, right?
Right.
That's really what it is. At the end of the day, you're the only person that knows what you like. You're the only person that knows how you want to play, how you want to spend your time, how you want to do anything. And the most valuable thing is what I always tell people all the time is like the most valuable thing in your life is your time, because you will never get that back. And especially the older that you get, even though like, you know, it's not to say like, oh, you're getting closer to death. It's just like, no, it's just your life gets filled up with more things, you know. You get married, you got a job, you have to work out, you're worried about your health, so you're a little bit more health conscious than what, you know, when you were 12 and you were up until 3 a.m. eating pizza and drinking Mountain Dew all night. You know, it's like your life changes so much as you get older, you know.
Yeah.
And
time goes by a lot quicker, and there's so many other things you got to do. You're absolutely right there.
Yes, and I found myself to be on this thing where I keep harping on, which I've been liking more, is the pick up and play and then I can stop kind of games, you know? So like last year and to this year, like a few of these games have popped up to me, like Unicorn Overlord, Diablo 4, Dave the Diver. A lot of these games like popped up where it's like I can, you know, grab my Steam Deck, I can sit on my Xbox, or I can sit on my PC or something, and I can play like maybe an hour or two, like do a little dungeon, do a little raid, do a little mission. I'm like, okay, got all this stuff done. Now I could go do something else with my like time, you know?
Yeah.
And I kind of look at that now as like a big plus, where it's like I can play these games. I don't have to get super hardcore invested, but I can also feel like I'm getting a lot of stuff done in my small amount of playtime, because it's very pick up, play, and put down very easily.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my problem with that, and just it's just once again, like a lot of those games just come off as just not very interesting to me. So I haven't really been as been paying as much attention to that lately. So, oh well, but that's life. So, we're getting close to the getting close to the 2-hour mark. So I figured talk a little bit about Chicago. Like, what's some places you like to go to, like to eat or something?
Okay. All right. What is your pizza place?
Well, I mean, for me, I mean, I like Lou Malnati's. I mean, I was just over at Pizzeria Uno. I've never had their pizza, but like getting just a reservation there is like almost next to impossible.
Yeah.
Unless you know somebody. Like you have to like do it like way ahead of time. But like for deep dish pizza, Lou Malnati's.
Hell yeah. Okay, so you and our friends now. All right.
Yeah. So whenever people like go to Giordano's, like, why are you going there? Why are you eating their cardboard crust? And
the people who like Geno's.
Tomato paste. I don't remember Geno's East.
My father-in-law loves Geno's East, and I mock him for it all the time.
Yeah, and I've gotten into arguments with people online about like, oh, Chicago pizza is not real pizza; it's a pie. I'm just like, shut up.
Shut the fuck up. That's what I always say.
Shut
up and eat it. Yeah, you know, it's good. It's just good. Who cares? Yeah,
it's got the ingredients. I mean, you can see. I mean, a pizza's a pizza. You know, I'm not gonna. Whoever gets to make the rules, well, they can be changed too. So
it's like a taco and a burrito. It's the same shit, just folded differently.
Yeah, and there's a pizza place by my house that we get the normal
pub style.
Flat crust or
thin
crust. Yeah, round pizza and all that. Yeah, there's one place in my neighborhood, Dino's is what it's called. I'm in Northwest Side, so I'm in the Jefferson Park area. So
okay,
yeah, a lot of houses. Good luck finding me. But that's where we go for thin crust. Burgers. Now, I was just watching some videos. Chicago's Finest. Now, I haven't been to every burger place. But if you want to look for a good burger, you gotta go to the West Loop. go to a place called Smith and the Loyalist. The Smith is the one above, Loyalist is the one in the basement. You want to go to the Loyalist. You want to go there and you want to get their Loyalist burger. Very good. One of the probably the best burger in the city. So if you hear Au Cheval, I like Au Cheval, but Loyalist is better.
Honestly, to me, I'm a Kuma's guy.
Kuma's was good. Kuma's was bought out, and the quality went down.
So the ones in the city, yes. The one in Schaumburg is still the best.
I've been to the one in Schaumburg. It's not great.
I love the one in Schaumburg still. I always get their burger of the month though, and I kind of also stick to the goat snake.
What band? What band burger do you get?
Goat snake is usually my go-to with the goat cheese and the corn.
Goat snake, goat cheese and corn, and
yeah, it's like a corn salsa on a cheese spread on a burger. It's
okay.
The bomb.
That sounds interesting. I usually go with like the Led Zeppelin or the Mastodon or something like that.
Yeah, like the more like normal type of Illinois Midwest burgers. Mm-hmm. I like the weird stuff because like I like going to Schaumburg the most because it's where all the Asians are.
Really?
Yeah, Schaumburg, huge Asian population. You know, just off of there on Gulf and Roselle.
I've worked close to Schaumburg, so I regularly go to the Woodfield area and go get something, get something to eat, or maybe check out what's at the mall and all that. Woodfield's still pretty active.
Yes, Woodfield is nice compared to every other mall around us. Gurney Mills now smells like marijuana 24/7.
Is there still a lot of people that go there, or is it just like is it like a ghost town?
No,
I know Gurney is mostly outlet stores.
No, Gurney still gets a lot of traffic because the Navy kids still go there from the Navy base, and then Waukegan goes out there a lot too. The kids from Waukegan, if they're by Six Flags, that's where they go to hang out during their summers. I think 95 Will Rock is now the Gurney Mills too. Or some radio station now has their radio stations in the mall. Okay. Yeah.
I have no idea which one it is. The ones by me, so I'm by like the Golf Mill and Harlem Irving Plaza. Golf Mill is a ghost town. I was over there. I remember the food court. He had one of the best food courts growing up. Mm-hmm. Everything is gone. Even the Sbarro. Even the Sbarro, which is every mall. Even that left Golf Mill. Yeah,
like Vernon Hills, they are like tearing down half the mall to do like a redesign to make it kind of more like a urban, like kind of like outlet mall type of feel. They got like apartments now building into the mall. It's like it's very weird, and like half the mall's closed. The food court's pretty much gone. If you saw Carpentersville, that mall closed down too, but it was bought out by the township. And I pass by that going to work every day, and that's kind of sad because I had a lot of good memories there for going to the GameStop inside of there.
I don't know if I've been to the Carpentersville one. I forget where that is exactly. I think it's west. I think it's west of me.
Yeah. It is. It's right down the street from Elgin. It's not that far.
Okay. Northwest, and probably a little bit northwest. Okay. Probably not too far from like Roselle or something, or Barrington.
Yeah, basically, it's closer to Barrington than it is Roselle.
Okay, all right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But we gotta bring up hot dogs.
Maxwell
Chicago style hot dogs.
Maxwell Street. Just say it right there. Just go for the Polish sausage, man.
Dude, Jim's is better.
I don't know.
Fries are like. Maxwell Street's fries are like this. Jim's fries are like this.
Okay, if you're talking about like the best hot dogs, Johnny's and Gene and Jude's. Those are the go-tos.
Okay, Gene and Jude's. I'll give you Gene and Jude's. I was there. I was there the other day. I like Gene and Jude's. Very Depression era hot dogs. You know, you have the really greasy fries, and they just throw them on the hot dog with everything.
And their fries are great. Their fries are fantastic.
Like it's like if you get like they wrap it in paper and then they put it in a paper bag.
Uh-huh.
the grease soaks through the paper bag. You have to say, "Hey, put this in another bag," and you don't want to put this on like your car seat
Yeah.
because your car seat's going to be full of grease then.
No.
But yeah, the Gene and Jude's I like. Gene and Jude's and Superdog. Even though Superdog is so expensive though, but Superdog is close to me. Superdog is close to me.
Yeah, Superdog is great, but it is so expensive. You're right. Gene and Jude's, it's still like a little bit of a drive for me. But god damn, dude, get a double dog, extra peppers, extra onions, big old slab of fries. Oh, marron. It's just and it's affordable. It's like I think
and what's funny was I had this little experience there, and people online said the same thing. So one time, the first time I was there, I asked for ketchup for the
you fucked up.
yes, yeah. And the old guy was like, dude, he's like, bro, if you want fucking ketchup, go to fucking McDonald's, because there's a McDonald's right next door to the Gene and Jude. So like, want fucking ketchup, go to fucking McDonald's. Well, he didn't say the F word, but he's like, go to McDonald's and all that. I was just like, and my friends were all laughing at me for saying that. So yeah, so you don't ask. So you go to Gene and Jude's if you're in Chicago. Don't ask for ketchup. Don't ask for ketchup at Gene and Jude's. It's like
no ketchup on your hot dog. Period in Chicago.
No, if you're caught with ketchup on your hot dog, I mean, if you're an adult and you're caught with ketchup on your hot dog, like remember Steve Bartman? You know,
yeah, of course.
You're gonna be chased out of Chicago. You'll be chased out of Chicago for. No, I'm kidding. But it's a moral sin. You can't do it. You just can't.
No, you can't. And I got to ask this question now. I'm a huge sports guy. Are you a sports guy at all?
Not really. I mean, I did watch. I did have to see the Cubs win, so I did kind of jump on board. I was like, okay, are they gonna choke this time? I was curious, and they won. They won the World Series.
Yeah.
I haven't really watched. Haven't watched a whole lot of sports. I haven't been invested in watching strangers play sports very well, I guess. I mean, I respect athletes. You know, it's a hard work. You know, they get paid pretty well because of all the sacrifice they got to do and all that.
Yeah.
But it's just something I never got into even growing up. So I mean, I watched the Bears when they actually made it to the Super Bowl back in 2007, and they completely fumbled that one.
Oh god, that was so heartbreaking to me, man.
Yes, it was. I remember as a kid the three-peat. We were all wanted to be Michael Jordan and everything.
Of course, so, every child in Chicago was a Michael Jordan Bulls fan.
Exactly. So
yes, I lived my lifestyle like Michael Jordan. Except I didn't get my dad killed for gambling debts.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. There you go. So. That's Chicago for me in a nutshell. I mean, there's a lot more to it. There's a lot of really good. It's one of the best places to find some of the really best food out here. So
one of the best foods, one of the best places to be. Honestly,
beautiful downtown. In my opinion.
Yes. Honestly, you know, even though there are dangers living in Chicago, obviously, or just going around Chicago.
Mean, certain parts of the city for sure. You know, I go for walks. I go for long walks. There were times where I was even on stream and I had my phone out like this. I called it Chillporeal, and I'm walking. I always say I'm walking the mean streets of Chicago because people who are outside of Chicago call this like place Chirac or something.
Yeah,
and it's like one part of the city.
Yeah,
even so.
I mean, like I said, Ravenswood is where I used to walk around a lot. You know, and like they also say like, oh, that could be like a little rough area. I'm like, I don't know. I walk around there drunk at like 2:00 in the morning with my friend. I mean, probably not the smartest move, but you know, if you just act like you know you belong, most people leave you alone and just don't go to the fucking really bad areas, you know?
Yeah. That's pretty much that's pretty much Chicago. Yeah, just it's a good place. It's a good place to visit. It's safe for the most part. So man, it's we're getting close to we're getting we're getting to the end. So you have anything you want to promote? Anything you want to plug?
I guess I'll just kind of plug my show. Hi, everyone. Thank you again for coming out tonight. And thank you again, Mr. Nerdpolio Brian, fellow Illinois boys, for having me on. I appreciate this a lot. Hope to return the favor and have you on eventually. I do a twice a week streams. One of them is a game stream. The other one is more of like a interview / podcast kind of deal where it's not fully gaming, but it's more gaming themed than anything else, where I have random guests on. It's the RNG show podcast, gaming podcast on YouTube. You can also follow me on Twitter and or X at the bears, like DA_cult_of to get my gaming takes and stuff. I am willing to talk to anyone about anything. That's really all I have to plug to say. I got a couple more guests lined up for this week, but I won't announce them until I got everything 100% confirmed with them. But that's really all I got to say for my plugs. Besides that, I hope everyone enjoyed this conversation tonight and they had a great time.
Yeah, I really enjoyed having you on. I definitely want to have you on again for a sequel. So, because everything has to have a sequel nowadays. So
exactly.
So definitely want to have you back on. We'll talk, get some more. We'll talk more about gaming and stuff. There's still a lot of stuff I feel we can connect on. There will be another stream on Thursday, another Chillporeal. The outro will reveal who that is. So be ready for that. Yeah, man, thanks for being here. Thanks for doing this. Like I said before, just once again, everybody be good to each other, stay safe, and everybody have a good night. And let's see who will be on the next Chillporeal stream.
Hell yeah.